What's good, YouTube? It's Rico here. I got a deck profile for SPYRAL that I used at the Philadelphia Regional this weekend. Um, Honestly, if you want my complete honest opinion on SPYRAL, this deck fucking sucks. Like, I'm not even, exaggerating. Um, it is a deck of extreme highs and extreme lows, and it honestly takes Glass Cannon to the literal extreme, where if this deck is able to play and do its things, it's unbeatable. Like, you can't break some of the boards this deck makes, but so often this deck just does not work. It bricks, it gives you a really subpar hand, you can make absolutely nothing and you get destroyed. And this was so horrendous to play. This might actually be my least favorite deck I've ever played in a tournament. And like, I played Lightsworn after it got hard nerfed, so that's really saying something. um, but like, it was 9 rounds. I went 5-4, and so that means I lost 8 games. Out of all 8 of those games, 7 of them I lost solely because I bricked. The last one there was a huge misplay on my part, but honestly, the opening in itself was kind of weak, and I was playing against Pendulum Magicians, so I honestly might have lost anyway. Um, like, I don't know, it's just, um, I felt like I was depending entirely on luck, where, like, my first 4 rounds or so, I was, like, really unlucky, and I'm actually surprised I clutched out my second round win. But going into round 5, I was 1-3, and I was like, I probably won't get my invite just because it's like, I had really a poor opening, but I'll like play it out and see what happens because my past 2 invites I was X3, so um, and then like I just like won the next 4 rounds, or the next, yeah, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I won those. Although it's round 6, I faced a chair. There was nobody there, so I just got that win for free. And I was like, well, I'm 5-3 now. I might as well play the last round. And then I bricked round 9, and I was like, well, this deck is fucking garbage. The reason I played it was because, well, I bought it all when the deck was tier 0, or like during the sneak, I bought the entire deck because like this is gonna be tier 0, and then they emergency hit it like they should have because it was broken as all hell. And like I kept testing it, and I was like, well, this still has some really cool plays, and its ceiling is absurdly high, even though it bricks a lot. And then like the ARG in St. Louis, like almost half of the topping decks were SPYRAL. And then even though I was having really bad luck when I was playing in our locals, when I was playtesting it the night before, it was far and away better than everything else I was playing because it was actually just not bricking. So I thought like maybe the changes I made to the deck just made it better. Um, and I was between this, ABC, or Magician, and I wrote off ABC really quickly because ABC has an absolutely horrendous matchup against SPYRAL. Like, Dragon Buster doesn't mean anything if you're forced to hit Resort with it because Resort stops you from targeting anything else. So I wrote off ABC really quickly, and then Magician I was really leaning towards, but as I was testing about against my friend who was also playing SPYRAL, I kept losing. Even when I opened like God hands that let me Pendulum Summon 6, I kept losing to SPYRAL, so I was like, oh, I guess SPYRAL is the best option. And then like it just did not work the day of, and it didn't really work for a lot of other people. My round 1 was a mirror, and I saw him like halfway through the day, and I asked him how he was doing. I was like, oh, I dropped. Uh, um, and then like there was like maybe 1 or 2 SPYRALs at the top tables, and like the top tables was extremely diverse. There was like a couple SPYRALs. There was a lot of Magicians. There was one of my friends went X2 with Paleozoic. Another one of my friends went X2-1, where he just intentionally drew the final round. He went with Invoked. Someone up there was playing Blue Eyes. There was True King Dino up there, I think. My last round loss was to a True King Dino that I bricked against. There was a Zoo Draco player at the top. Like, there was fucking everything. There was Burning Abyss at the top, too. Like, everything was at the top. So this was just an incredibly diverse format. So, like, so yeah, I'll just get into the deck profile now. I've ranted for almost 5 minutes. You're gonna notice that like most of this is not sleeved. I went to locals today and I sat down and I immediately unsleeved this and I built Burning Abyss because I'm so tired of this deck that I just don't want to play it anymore. But yeah, this is what I ran. Um, So Spiral Monsters is 3 agent. That's obvious. He's the only Spiral you play more than one copy of, honestly. Like you could play 2 Last Resort, but I don't really think it's that helpful. 1 Quick Fix, 1 Drone, 1 Master Plan. This bitch loved my hand so much. I opened her so many times. It was so fucking annoying, dude. And like you can get her out of your hand if you have Quick Fix, but if you don't have Quick Fix, then you're just kind of fucked. 1 Sleeper. He looked my hand a bit too. Not as much as Master Plan. I swear I drew Master Plan like every other game, but Sleeper I drew fairly often as well. That's really my biggest problem with this deck, is that there's like 10 Garnets in it. Like there's so many cards you don't want to draw. Like you don't want to draw Master Plan, you don't want to draw Sleeper. You don't want to draw any of the missions and the 3 more cards. The gears honestly aren't that great to draw. You don't want to really draw Utility Wire. The only gears that are good to hard draw really are Drone and Big Red. Like there's so many cards in this deck you just don't want to draw. It's like, does it really feel worth it with how inconsistent the deck is? 1 Last Resort. And then I actually mained 1 Tough, because the biggest thing that hurts this deck, like I felt like my bad hands weren't the ones where I was clogging too many monsters, where those do happen but not as much. It was the ones where I was clogging too many spell and trap cards but no ways to get to the monsters. Like if I was opening like Foolish Burial Goods or Double Summon and I didn't have a way to get to Quick Fix, or like a monster in general, those are the hands where I was struggling the most. So I was like, well, the ban list took 4 monsters from the deck, so that's expected, but I guess I should try and add more Spirals into the mix. So I just decided to main Spiral Tough, and in testing before the regional and like watching another one of my friends play this card in the main deck, this card was actually really clutch. Like it came up a fair number of times, even in game 1. Like just having the extra name was good, and the utility of just popping a card, like he was actually really useful, and I'm glad I mained him. I did side him out if I went first game 2 or game 3, but overall he was extremely solid. So it's all the Spiral monsters. I don't run any non-Spiral, non-hand traps, so I didn't run Gofu, I didn't run Destrudo. I think both of them right now are very win-more, and they're only really good if your hand is already good, and then it's just excessive. And I think they're absolute trash if your hand is bad. Gofu, like, and like even like the plays that Gofu can do with just like him and Resort are honestly pretty lackluster. Like I couldn't do anything impressive off of it, and like sure you can use it to make like a Firewall Dragon early, but like you can do stuff without it, and then like it doesn't do anything to help you if you're already losing. And then Destrudo I felt was the same way. There were a couple hands, like a few times where like having the Ravine for Destrudo did actually make my bad hand better, but they were so rare, and more often than not the Dragon Ravine was just not doing anything. I think if we had Code Talker, then Dragon Ravine and Destrudo would actually be really good, but we don't have it, so we can't really do anything about that. So I just decided not to play them. For hand traps, I played 3 Ash, 3 Drone Lockbird, 3 Ogre, 1 Max C, and 1 DD Crow. So Max and Ash are obvious, like those are staples in like fucking everything ever. DD Crow is also obvious because it's a combo piece. I think I did actually drop DD Crow at least once. I Magician to Black Fang target, or I DD Crow to Black Fang target against the Magician, but that was the Magician I lost to for wrecking. So Droll was amazing. The only matchups where Droll was really useless were like rogue ones that I really wasn't expecting, which were Infernoid and True King Dino. Everything else this card was solid and was really good at holding them off for a turn. So I do think, aside from Ash, this was the best hand trap, definitely. Even though I only hit 1 Spiral, this was solid in damn near every matchup. Ghost Ogre was hit or miss. She was the last one I put in the deck. I decided that I was either going to brick a lot, or my opponent was going to have hand traps that was going to stop me from setting up. And I decided that if that would happen, I wanted to have 1 to 2 hand traps in every hand to stop them from setting up. And then like just simplify the game state, because Spiral in a simplified game state is bad, but they can draw 1 card and immediately go off again. So I decided that like I wanted to max out on the number of hand traps possible, and like I actually almost mained Reaper. I just didn't have space, and like I was already at 42 cards and I didn't want to put in more cards. So I sided Reaper, but I did honestly almost main it just for this reason. And Ghost Ogre was really hit or miss. There were some times where she was really helpful, But there were also a lot of times where she just really wasn't. So like moving forward, I'm not, if I were to still play SPYRAL, I'm not sure if I would still main her, but or still play her. Actually, I don't know if I would side her either. But like, she did come in clutch a couple times, but she definitely wasn't as powerful as the other hand traps. Yeah, that's all the monsters. And then for spells, it's 3 resort. This card is amazing when you see it and it resolves, and somehow even with the 3 resort and the 3 terraforming, there were many games where I just didn't see it. Because, you know, that's amazing, right? 3 double summon, 3 foolish burial goods. That's obvious. You really need them to start your plays. 2 big reds. I do really like that I played 2, because hard drawing it, like hard opening it, is really useful to get some combos going. And if the game actually did last more than a couple turns, sometimes just getting the other one was really useful. So I do definitely like the fact that I played 2 big reds. 1 for 1. I actually didn't draw this at all, but I feel like you have to play it. I actually really hate this card in this deck because you don't really ever want to discard any monsters except for like maybe Master Plan. Well, actually, you definitely want to discard Master Plan. So if you draw Master Plan, it's like the only SPYRAL you ever want to discard. But like you have to play it because it's a 1 card like quick fix combo, because it just grabs quick fix and you don't waste your normal summons, you just grab drone and you go off. So like you need to play this card, but I really just don't like it in this deck. But it's so good when it resolves. But yeah. I didn't see it, so I guess it doesn't matter, but I never sided it out or anything. 1 Rhoda, this was useful just to grab Agent or Tough, just because they are like huge parts of the combos now with only 1 quick fix and 1 drone. I did side it out, going first and second. If I felt like if I needed to side something out, I would side out Rhoda, but it was solid regardless. 1 Assault for Foolish Burial Goods. I did a really cute play with this. There were a couple times where I played it and popped an opponent's card to draw a card. My round 1 in the mirror, I actually did something really cute where he had a resort up and I had this on board and I had rescue and super agent in the graveyard, and he droned me, so he rearranged the top cards of my deck and he went into double helix, and I figured what are the odds that he put a hand trap on top of my deck. So I activated rescue before he activated double helix. I revived super agent and I destroyed the resort, and I used assault to draw a card and it was Ash Blossom, so I was able to stop him from using double helix. Or at least I would have, but then he just played around it and forced me to use it on Master Plan instead, like the Master Plan sent to graveyard. So yeah, but like that was cute, and like you have to play this because of Foolish Burial Goods, but it is a brick. It's yet another Guardian of the deck. And the last 2 spell cards I played were Foolish Burial and Soul Charge. These cards, honestly, in my opinion, they fucking suck. Like, I hated Foolish Burial, and I sided this out every single game. Like, I did not even think twice about it. Foolish Burial came out every game because, like, the only thing you really want to send with this is quick fix, or like if you really need super agent, you can like Foolish Burial and then big red it, but that never came up. I never wanted to, like, I never wanted this when I had it, and I never had it when I wanted it. So like it's just so fucking bad. Like you can do, like, there are combos with it, like if you draw this and like Foolish Burial Goods, then like that's the combo. But if you could draw this and like big red to get back the quick fix, and that's kind of a combo. But like because this is a one of, because it's limited, like it never comes up when you need it, and I just always set it out. This card was fucking terrible, and I wish I didn't play it. Soul Charge, like it did actually win me 1 game against an Infernoid player, where instead of doing the play into Sleeper, I was able to play into Baguska with Ib. But like I probably could have won that game anyway, even without this. So honestly, this card, I don't really think Soul Charge is that great, and I set it out every time I went second. But so these are the 2 cards I would cut to go down to 40. So like almost definitely. And then that's all the spells. And then for traps, I played 2 rescue. You need 2 now, and 1 utility wire. And yeah, so that's the main deck. For extra deck, I played 2 double helix, 1 Borlo Dragon. This card was actually really clutch a lot of times. I would just make the Borlo Dragon and take something in OTK, or just like take something and main control of the game and just win. It didn't help all the time, but it was definitely very useful, and I'm glad I played it. 1 Firewall. You never make 2. Like I never came up into a situation where I needed 2. one Decode Talker, one Gaia Saber. I only put this in because it was the 15th card. I really don't think this is necessary. I played it just because I wanted to put something else in, and I figured if there was any card that I was going to end up missing at some point, it would probably be Gaia Saber before like Firewall or anything else. So like I actually did make it in the last round against the Dino player, but that was because I bricked so hard that I had to put something big on the board, and this was bigger than Decode Talker, and that's the only reason I made it. But yeah, actually, like, yeah, one Trigate, obviously, one Ib, one Proxy Dragon, one Bagooska. I actually made this a lot more than I thought it would. I made it both games against the second Infernoid player I played. I think I might have made this against a Magician player. I don't like I didn't think I was gonna summon this at all, and then it came up 2 or 3 times, so that was nice. One Recital Starling, one Princess Sprite, and then the last 3 slots were Reaper targets, which were Dante, Toad, and ABC. I never played Burning Abyss, and I never played Paleo, but I did play ABC. And the sad thing is, I hit him with Reaper and Max C and Evenly Matched all in the same game, and I still lost because I bricked that hard, and he just beat me down with like the ABC pieces. If I were to do this again, I would still play these because you really don't need any other Spiral. You don't really need any other cards in this extra deck. Like the ones, like the other 12 are really the only ones you need, and you don't even need Gaia Saber. So I honestly would have switched out the Gaia Saber for a Makaba in case I hit Invoked. But yeah, and honestly, because I was maining all of these, that's why I considered maining Reaper, and I decided not to, just because Magician was a deck, and hitting Bagooska doesn't hurt them that much. They can still play like Time Star or whatever, and then so like Magician's a deck, and I figured there was gonna be a lot of Magicians, and Magicians was one of the 2 decks I hit more than once. I figured, and there was like True Draco, which I didn't see, but I figured it would be there. I wasn't sure how strong it would be against Invoked because, depending on how they build Invoked, like the hand trap version of Invoked always wants to go second. So like Ghost Reaper wouldn't be that good against them because they'd only sit on 1 monster anyway. But I figured that like if I bricked or if they stopped me from playing, I was only gonna have at most 1 monster on the board anyway. So if they dropped 2, there was like regularly my opponent could make 2 monsters before a play, and then I could Reaper them even if I went first, which came up a lot, which is why I thought like maybe I should have mained it. Like it was like I did start siding it in even when I went first because of that. But yeah, I decided not to main it because of Magician and True Draco mostly. And like I also hit Infernoid, and it wouldn't have been useful against that. So in the side deck, I played 3 Reaper. Obviously, this card is savage when it goes off, but as evidence against the ABC player, it doesn't always win you the game. 3 Twin Twisters. This was useful a couple times. I didn't put it in against a mirror, but I put it in going seconds against most other things, not Infernoid. But I put it in against ABC, but he either didn't draw or didn't play any back row even when he went first, so it was useless against him. But just about everything else I did sided in, going second. 3-dimensional barrier. This was actually, I sided this for everything except Spiral and True Draco, but it was useful. Again, I only saw it, I think, against the Invoked player, and I might have seen it against ABC. I don't remember. I don't think I did. But this actually won me game 3 against the Invoked player because he either sided in or he mainboarded the Wind Witches because he dropped Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon on me first turn, and I had this set and he had beat me down for 3,000 twice, so I was like on the verge of death. And I finally opened a way to start my combo, and I used Quick Fix, and he tried to Crystal Wing it, and I barriered it. And then next turn I hit it with Utility Wire to get rid of it, and then next turn I OTK'd him. So like this actually won me a game against Invoked, but I didn't see it otherwise really. So honestly, moving forward, I would probably replace this with Magical Spring because I really wish I had that against a Magician player to just draw into my pieces and stop them from, you know, popping Double Iris or whatever. Would have been really, really useful. 3 Evenly Matched. This card is broken. This card is so broken. I only think I saw it like 2 or 3 times. One of the times against the ABC player, and it was actually pretty savage on him, except for the fact that I bricked hard enough anyway that it didn't matter. And then I saw it. I think I saw it against the second magician player that I actually beat, who was a friend of mine. Um, this card, when it resolves, is really dumb. So yeah. And then 3 Scolding. This was good overall, but I misplayed with it a few times, for sure. Against the Dino player, I was so tilted that I just telegraphed it. I set this and mission, and then immediately flipped the rescue, and he was like, "Oh well, that's Scolding," and then he played around it and popped it. But this is definitely really good, and I wouldn't have not played it. I think this this saved my ass game 2 against the Inferno player, where I set up the ridiculous board, but I did it with sleeper, and according to one of my friends, Inferno has a really time breaking the Ibs sleeper board. So I was like, oh well, I'm really scared to do this. But then I revealed this off of Princess Sprite or something, and it just added it to my hand immediately. And he's like, oh, I have no idea what that does. And I set it, and I just he scooped before I activated it, and I just told him, I was like, oh yeah, this is just Solemn Judgment but better. So yeah, that was the deck. It sucked. It was really bad, to be completely honest. I would not play it again. I would play literally anything else. After the tournament, I was so mad and so salty, and I was ranting to all my friends. I could have played Paleozoic, I could have played Burning Abyss, I could have played Magician, I could have played Invoked, I could have played True Draco. I have all of those decks. And I was so mad. I was like, I have literally never played or seen Trickstar be played before in my life. I probably could have picked that up and done better than I did with this. This deck is so horribly overrated in my opinion. If it was consistent, and if it did its plays every single game, it would be the best deck in the game by far. But it is so inconsistent, and you get those god hands maybe 20% of the time. I feel 40 on a good day. You will never I resolved that combo twice, and they either were unlucky enough to not have hand traps, or they just didn't play hand traps for some fucking reason. I don't know. This deck was terrible. I really would not play it again. I just wanted to put this out just for anybody, mainly for people in Pojo and the SPYRAL thread who may be interested in seeing this deck, but it was awful. I would not play it again. I immediately built Burning Abyss and Paleozoic because I had all the pieces for it. I have all the pieces for Invoked ready. I have Magician still built. Fucking hell, I'm about to build Light Swarm because I would rather play it than this again, honestly. And I might build Magical Musket or Bullet or whatever when it comes out. Anything but SPYRAL. Fuck this deck, dude. It's so awful. I might I don't normally sell cores to decks because I like just having a bunch of things to build, but I might honestly just sell this entire thing, or put it in my binder and see if anybody wants to buy it or trade for it, because this deck fucking sucks. And maybe Link Karibo somehow makes it better, but I really highly doubt it. So yeah, that's all. Until next time, YouTube. I guess the one positive was I got this really nice mat that I completely forgot to mention. This is the special European promo mat or whatever, and I got it for $50, and it's the most beautiful mat I've ever had. Honestly, I just love this shade of blue, and I just love this design. But yeah, that's all. Until next time.